This podcast is provided for educational, informational, and entertainment purposes only, without any express or implied warranty of any kind, including warranties of accuracy, completeness, or fitness for any particular purpose.
Hi everyone, welcome back to our ABCC's podcast. This is episode 4 of our live video podcast. Of course, it's recorded, but it's live for us right now. So I have Alan with me again right now.
Hello everyone.
So today's topic, we are going to talk about WorldCoin. So WorldCoin has been exceptionally popular right now in the crypto scene. So what we're going to talk about is what is exactly WorldCoin. So WorldCoin is actually a cryptocurrency project that aims to create a global identity, and also they want to create a financial network, and it's backed by VC Andreessen Horowitz, as well as founded by OpenAI Chief Executive Sam Altman and a couple of others more than 3 years ago. So if you heard about OpenAI, which is ChatGPT, it's actually one of the biggest functions of AI that has actually revolutionized a lot of things in the world. So Sam Altman actually created that. He founded that, as well as now he has founded WorldCoin. So WorldCoin have actually raised about $250 million so far. And in the past 3 years, they have did their beta, which has about 2 million users. Right? So, maybe Alan, you can talk a little bit about what WorldCoin actually does for the digital identity part.
Okay, so the WorldCoin, the whole idea is proof of personhood. So what it means is for WorldCoin, you were able to earn their token by doing an eye scanning device through their orb in order to verify the user's identities and in order to prove that you're like a person, like a personhood. So that's how the proof of personhood comes to place. So basically this orb is like a circular thing. It scans the user's iris and it generates like a unique digital identifier, which is called the World ID. And the project itself is you're able to use the World ID and access to the WorldCoin, and then in order to access in the future like the different like financial institute or to the financial network through the World ID. And the WorldCoin will be the cryptocurrency that is going to be supporting the network itself.
So basically trying to prove that you are not an AI, right? From this
so
WorldCoin.
You're not like a robot or that you are like a real human being.
Yeah, so Sam Altman also came out and said that he believes that this WorldCoin project has a potential to solve a number of problems out there. And first one is the prevention of fraud and financial crime. As we can see almost on a very frequent basis in the crypto scene, that there is a lot of fraud, financial crime happening. So WorldCoin aims to help to prevent that. And also by verifying users' identities, WorldCoin can help to prevent fraud and financial crime as well. And they also want to enable global financial inclusion. This is a fun part because they want to help make financial services more accessible to people in developing countries. And also they want to probably use it in maybe like future elections, whereby you can use WorldCoin as a democratic participation as well. So one of the fun part is people have criticized WorldCoin. So they have criticized WorldCoin by saying it's a kind of privacy implication. What do you think about that?
I think a lot of criticism comes from either privacy or how it's actually what's the underlying logic of using this kind of technology. Like if you scan your iris and give you World ID, it's actually give more in control for the WorldCoin projects rather than like what they try to promote as like or you give you more financial freedom or to prove that like you're not controlled by some sort of AI. Or
that's a huge concern, right? I mean, like how are they actually gonna protect those personal data?
So apparently, like from what I read, they don't actually store your iris data, but it's like a hash version of it. So they don't actually have the actual data itself. That's what they claim, but I'm not sure. But I think the underlying issue of the criticism is, why do we need this at this moment, right?
Right.
So is this like just like a big marketing campaign to try to hype up the projects?
Right.
But I think why do we need to do that? Is that like, if you're not wanting to do like getting like a few like what, $20-$30, like why would someone just go to scan their ops and get a real ID? Because right now I don't see any real world use case.
There isn't any use case so far because it's been very new, right? But they said they have been talking about it and they've been doing beta testing for the past 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
So some people even say that, because they created ChatGPT, right, with Sam Altman, and ChatGPT was the ultimate AI so far, the past couple of years.
Yeah.
And then now he comes out and say, we need to control the AI part. So we're gonna make sure that we can prove that there is actual people doing maybe some kind of functions or making sure that it's not entirely AI. So this might be something that counters what ChatGPT has been doing. So it's a little bit ironic, right, on that front.
It could be. I mean, like usually, like someone creates something and they see the problem and they want to resolve it. But I mean, I potentially see like this kind of World ID could be useful. Like it's a bit like your social security number and like your ID, like your ID number. You can use it to open banks accounts or anything. Maybe you don't need to carry IDs anymore. You just scan. If the network grows big enough, you can definitely scan your iris. But then in a way, you're selling all your data to the government.
But if you think about it, like when you use your iPhone.
Yeah.
And then some of the functions are like Face ID.
Yeah, they already.
And like biometric. It's similar, right? Is it similar?
I think it's I think the way the WorldCoin did it is they become more transparent. So they don't put it under like a huge bunch of terms and conditions.
Okay.
They just come straight at you. Okay, you give them your like biometric data, they pay you some token or some coins, right? But in iPhone you don't really gain anything. But you giving your face
probably ease of access, ease of access for iPhone. But in this case, but if you think about it, then in this case, are they actually like paying you to use your data? Do you think that?
I think in a way they are.
In a way they are, right?
In a way they are. It's like so basically you're selling your data for tokens, right?
Basically, they are just telling you like if you can scan your irises, we're gonna give you a certain kind of payment.
Yeah.
To probably gain your data. But in this case, it's very hard to fight against whether or not this is a positive thing, because it seems like this WorldCoin thing, they just one fine day they just came out and they're like, okay, we're gonna launch it today, and then everyone's like, okay, why is this?
It's been around a lot.
But it's been around.
Yeah, I think I first heard it like in January or February. Like there was a lot of sharings on WhatsApp groups.
They actually prepped it. I think they prepped it because of ChatGPT as well. So they were trying to like maybe coerce your mind or something like that. I have no idea. But the interesting thing is they are from the same group of people, Sam Altman's team, as well as VCs who have invested about 250 million. I think that the investors was about 250 million is invested in this WorldCoin. One big part of it is that the WorldCoin team also said that they are going to hold about 20% of the tokens at all times, in order to fund, of course, the development and things like this. Is 20% a lot? Do you think?
I think for like typical a lot of crypto projects, probably hold more than that.
No, they
for
probably
ecosystem funds. Yeah. So I don't think 20% is a lot. But the valuation for WorldCoin now is like 22 billion or something. I think it's quite up there. It's like
that's
a
the
huge project.
That's the token valuation, right? Or is it the company?
The market cap.
Oh, okay.
The token market cap.
Okay, So the riskiness of the WorldCoin, how risky do you think WorldCoin is? Because if, like, say you and I, if we go and to the org and then we provide our irises to it, it is a permanent thing, right? Because not everybody is gonna change their irises.
I'm not sure. Like, okay, I think the WorldCoin do it in a way that they try to be more transparent compared to traditional company. But I think the question should be like giving this to WorldCoin without real purpose, rather than a few tokens. Is it worth it?
What do you hope to gain out of that?
I mean, like,
Like, do you hope to
Okay,
gain like?
so for example, let's use an example. Okay, like now when we like pass the immigration like at the airport, we sort of like give our fingerprints and the face scan, right? So that is like part of the service. Like this is how I feel like at least I understand the use case, why they need my.
So more like a real world use case.
I
right,
think so. I
for
think
WorldCoin.
so. But I think if WorldCoin one day have a real world use case, or they partner with like other organization or government, which can actually provide value.
I think one of the biggest thing that they mentioned, if I'm not wrong, in their roadmap is they are a wallet, right? I mean, WorldCoin itself.
They do have a wallet.
They also have a
Yeah,
wallet.
but they're on ERC20.
Yeah.
They're not
So,
like a.
I mean, that may be the front they're going,
maybe,
right? So
maybe.
they might use the wallet function in order to adopt, have a real world use case scenario for adoption. And I think that is maybe very far down the road because, like you mentioned, ERC20, so it's going to be very costly.
Yeah,
on
I
their
think
front.
it's still very long. It's still very long, like long term for them in order to become very useful.
Maybe what they're trying right now is to, test out what the market feels about the WorldCoin because ultimately there isn't any kind of real world use case right now. But of course, like we mentioned, cryptocurrency has always been priding itself on the anonymous part. You can go through the block. Everything is transparent on the blockchain, but most of the times you don't know who is behind because you want to stay anonymous. You want to protect your own privacy. But WorldCoin doesn't really eat on that front.
No, it doesn't.
But I think it's still fine because there has to be certain kind of certain kind of centralization like we see. A lot of times regulation part is the most important because if there aren't any kind of regulations, everything can just go out of hand, right? Nobody can control.
Correct.
There's no central party that can control as well. So yeah, I think WorldCoin is definitely very interesting. And we can see that a lot of people, they're trying to control the narrative. But at the end of the day, we just want to see what is best for the industry as well.
Yeah.
I think in that case, we have come to the end of our podcast.
Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
The information contained in or provided from or through this podcast is not intended to be and does not constitute as financial advice, investment advice, trading advice, or any form of advices. The information in this podcast is general in nature and is not specific to you, the users, or anyone else. You should not make any decision, be it financial, investment, trading, or otherwise, based on any of the information presented in this podcast without undertaking independent due diligence and consultation with a professional broker or financial advisory. You understand that you are using any and all information shared in this podcast at your own risk. You are solely liable for any losses that you may incur from investing, and in no event shall we be liable for any losses which may be incurred while investing.